guys? Aquan here, back with another video. Here today to give you all my review of this new Conway the Machine and 38 Spesh collab tape, Special Machinery, which is probably my favorite name for an album this entire year. Don't mind the hair. I just finished working out. Not too much on right now. I'm about to get a retwist soon. So Conway has like cemented himself as the young boy of New York right now, with 4 albums straight. It's been really interesting because like literally I could graph like during my last semester there was 2 Conway projects. During the summer there was a Conway project, and now during the school year there's a Conway project. Like literally every era of my life this year there has been a Conway project. And this one is a bit interesting. Let's get into it. This is also of course 38 Spesh, who is like Griselda adjacent to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like I know that 38 Spesh isn't like an official member of Griselda. He never was, but he does a lot of collaborations with them, and is also generally in that sort of clique of rappers stylistically. You know, the kind of music he makes is very similar to Rome Streets. And up to this point, I haven't been crazy about 38 Spesh. I think he makes great songs with Conway, but if y'all saw from my Goodfellas reaction, he kind of is a little bit better than Rome Streets in the sense that I feel like he's a lot of filler bars with no real leading lyrical focus. Let's get into it. The writing, I'm going to put this as great, and you may be surprised because up to this point I've given pretty much every Conway project an amazing. Let me see if I can, here we are. But I think this has a couple of things that bring it down just a little bit. Still great, but just not amazing. For context, when I think of amazing, when I think of like amazing, I think of like mind blowing, right? I think of things that are like from start to finish, genuinely like encapsulating. I shouldn't say encapsulating, engaging and just extremely impressive. And I think there was a couple things stopping this from being that for me. Number one, while 38 Spesh is definitely better than Rome Streets in this regard, I still feel like a decent chunk of his verses sort of didn't go anywhere. They were just really impressive bars and really dense rhyme schemes that didn't always feel like they amounted to much. And especially like it didn't really feel like, well, actually, I'll get into that later down along the writing. But it just felt like a lot of just general bars about not liking snitches, dominating the rap game, and like the wealth that he's amassed. Conway was a little bit better, but it still was the same three. It was still those same 3 topics, sort of recycled and said in different ways. I think Conway sort of never deviated as much. And I also think his bars were a little bit better overall. Well, overall, while each song definitely had a thing that it was like about for the most part, it didn't really amount to much, and it wasn't the subject matter he was encroaching on wasn't really all that interesting or diverse or even surprising, honestly. And so while the rhyme schemes are extremely dense and the bars were extremely impressive, because they didn't really lead anywhere and because there was a severe lack of diversity, I think I have to knock it down to a great for that reason. I will say thematically there was seemingly this like general feeling of like wealth and luxury throughout the project from a lyrical standpoint, but it was this very like dark and moody, this very dark framing of like us, fighting to get wealth through the adversity, which is always nice, and that kind of goes like sort of nicely into the production, which I'm between a great and amazing. I'm gonna go amazing for now, just because I feel like I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's losing a bit of his appreciation for Griselda beats because, to a certain extent, they feel a bit one dimensional. I shouldn't say one dimensional, but they lack progression, and yeah, they lack progression and become monotonous for him. But I think that for me, the very original sounds that they use compared to Dirk and Baby and TJ makes their sound very unique. And I think on this project in particular, they very much embodied that dark, luxurious sound to a T. Even though, yes, and I also think that they did a little bit better progressing and using different instruments such as strings and things of that nature throughout the project. So they did have like more progression on their beats in this, but I think also just like the sounds that they did use were so unique and different that I really enjoyed what they had to offer production. And there was a theme throughout. There was a cohesion, despite the Griselda having such a wide range of production in general. So overall, I thought the production was pretty amazing. There was a couple features on here that I really, really liked. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a great because, well, I really enjoyed all of the features, and some of them even like I liked the people who were singing on there. I think that a lot of them, similar to a Tana Talk 4, sort of didn't bring a new perspective, didn't bring a new voice to the song itself. I liked Goodfellas, y'all know I liked that. But even there, it's like, Benny the Butcher is just kind of a better version of 38 Spesh for me. The song with Jadakiss and the song with Lloyd Banks are also like, again, sonically and lyrically, they kind of accomplished the same thing as 38 Spesh and Conway, as people with, raspy voices, spitting hardcore, dark street bars. And it doesn't bring a different dimension to the song other than the nostalgia of, oh my God, it's Jadakiss. I would say that. So the features there was cool. It was, what I'm saying? It was what it was. So now I get into the chemistry and flows. And I'm going to go ahead and give this a good. It was just good. And honestly, the thing holding on to the good is the way that they would play off of each other's rhyme schemes was really impressive. And the way that they would punch in and out. I love when rappers do stuff like that. And they did it really well, and they carried each other's rhyme schemes really well. And what was even more impressive was like these are not like weak rhyme schemes. They carried very complex rhyme schemes, which I really, really appreciated. That being said, and I was having a discussion about this with one of my friends, this collab album felt largely unnecessary, if I'm going to be honest with you. Not only do I feel like people weren't really clamoring for a 38 Spesh and Conway collab, but I also think that like they don't have enough differences in their music to really justify a new, like they don't have enough differences in their music, and so as a result there isn't much of a like sonic difference. Like, when you think of What a Time to Be Alive, there is this clear merging of Drake and Future, right? But with this, their music is so similar that Conway could have easily made this project by himself. 38 Spesh could have easily made this project by himself, and no one would have really batted an eye. Uh, and so, like, in terms of bringing a whole new sound or coming together, meeting in the middle, or pushing each other, there was really none of that, to be honest. And unlike the earlier project this year, which was nothing bigger than the program, they're both from New York. They both have the same sort of accent for the most part. And so that clashing of accents wasn't even really, an appeal for this project either. Um, I actually want to say that I think that unnecessary was a bit of harsh wording. I think that sonically it wasn't as necessary, maybe, but I do want to give respect to the idea of put ons because when it came to Jay, you could make the same argument kind of for Jay Skis and Conway, but I will say that, it was that these put ons have been really, really helpful in terms of introducing me to new artists. For example, I would hear about Jay Skis through Conway, listen to his own project, and realize that it's probably album of the year this year. And so I don't want to negate the fact that, from a put on perspective, this is really admirable by Conway, and the way that he's been introducing Griselda artists and Griselda adjacent artists has been really nothing but exemplary and impressive. And so, yeah, I think for chemistry, it was like they have chemistry, but I don't feel like they really took advantage of the collab album. Like, I feel like a collab like this doesn't take advantage of the collab album format in the way that it could. And then musical execution. So I'm gonna give this a good. I didn't personally take any songs from this project, to be honest. I'm gonna keep it a being with you, not because there was nothing to of value necessarily. And if you like lyrical rap, if you like bars and dense syllabic rhyme schemes over underground beats, you can take it. But I think for me at this point, there's also just been so much Conway this year that, like, I'm kind of good. Like, I there's not much that they accomplished sonically on this album that I can't get from anything else that Conway has dropped this year. And so for me, there just wasn't a need for me to like go out of my way to like continue to bump any of this album. Um, yeah. Uh, and so that was sort of for me again. While the project isn't musically worse than say Pain for Profit or Pain Provides Profit, for example, I just ended up taking a lot less because we've already gotten Pain Provides Profit. We've already gotten the Drumwork album, right? And so, yeah, on top of that, couple other thoughts I had about the project uh, is I would say this is definitely the weakest Conway project. Um, First off, because I think that compared to Jay Skis, 38 Special just isn't quite as strong of a rapper. I also think that the length of the project also kind of hurts it. Pain Provides Profit was really a bit of an EP, which helped it because the writing never felt monotonous in any way. But with this, the writing does feel a bit monotonous because it is a bit longer, and it's still like on the trim side, 11 songs. But I feel like Griselda kind of thrives in that short album landscape because they don't have the level of versatility compared to other rap acts. And so even just 11 songs felt kind of not long, but a bit unnecessary in my opinion. And so, yeah, I wasn't crazy about this project. Overall, I still think it's a great project and a positive notch in Conway's discography. But I think that as Conway continues to drop projects, his sound is beginning to, wear off and become a bit stale, to be honest. And I think that Conway, I feel like, needs a bit of an artistic evolution or just wait a little bit and come back, really. And in terms of 38 Spesh, I think more lyrical focus would be, appreciated. But he did his thing on this record, and I don't want it to seem like I'm dissing 38 Special in any way, because he was still really impressive and definitely kept up with Conway the Machine for the most part on this project. And so yeah, overall, it was a cool. I think I'll still give it a great. I'll still give it a great. It was still a great project. It's just not something I'm really all that passionate about personally, because of how much Griselda material we've gotten at this point. But yeah, let me know what y'all thought of this album in the comment section below. Hope y'all enjoyed this review. And with that being said, peace, y'all.